So, good morning, or afternoon, or good day. Today, we will focus a little bit on some baby back bends to really open the front body and create some space in the spine. We're heading into tomorrow into a full moon and a lunar eclipse, so it might be a great time to tap into energy that might be around that. And we'll always have a cool down from uh, when we do baby back bends so that you won't be just completely wide awake and alert. But if you need to go for the day, the back bends are really helpful to give you energy for the day. And if you're winding down at night, you probably need to do more shavasana or feet up the wall just to cool that down after heating it up. So let's begin. So take your towel, blanket, whatever you have, and I'll offer you two possibilities. You can either roll it long, and sometimes you can fold the end of it to give yourself a little head support. And if you come and lay on this, I need to scoot back. Give yourself a little head support, and then this just lies along the spine. And you can either have the legs, the knees bent, or you can have one leg up and then the other, or you can have both legs straight. And then we're just breathing into the upper chest and armpits. And I'll just show you with a thicker blanket if you happen to have something thicker. That's kind of nice because I have this door stopper too, which can work really nice for this pose because it's already filled. And I can't really fold it up for my head, but I could add a pillow for my head. And actually, there's something nice about how this feels along my spine. And then I'll show you with a bigger blanket. It's almost like, because this is kind of even and circular, I can really feel where my vertebrae is along that. Because something like this, the hope is to soften the sides of the spine as well. So with the bigger blanket, it's just a little bit wider. It's almost like a bolster. I can still bend the end of it and give myself head support. And then the more action you do in the legs by pressing through the legs, the more that it's going to have a bit of action to the pose. And then it's really what this teaches is that if you use the strength and the power in the legs here, that's what helps with back bends. That's what's going to support back bends. Because if you just had soft legs, it's not so dangerous doing it this way because you're on your back. But if you don't use your core support, your legs to support back bends, then you're just going to pinch into your lower spine. So we have to support ourselves in poses. So usually we're trying to create space in one part of the body by activating another part of the body. So in this pose, you can really start to move the breath more so it comes from the belly up into the upper chest and the armpits. And if you want to take a little pause at the top of the breath, you can do that and then slowly exhale the breath, really letting everything touch into the back of whatever that support is you have under your spine. So when you breathe, see if you can also feel that space in the rib cage so that maybe you feel a little more width in the back behind the rib cage as you inhale up. And your rib cage is like a bird cage, so it wraps around. You can even practice inhaling and really feeling that wrap around. Breath comes up, and then when you exhale, it goes down and then wraps behind again. And do a couple of more breaths like that. And with the head support, you can soften your forehead so that begins to take away the energy in that neocortex in the front brain. So as you soften the forehead, calm down the nervous system. And then you can slowly release the spine, and if it helps, roll to your side, pull out your supports, whichever one you use. This I just happened to, my yoga teacher used to show me about this, and it's amazing because these are good if you're squatting to put under your heels. So there's a lot of things you can do with that. So it's not just yoga props. You can find other props for yoga. You can make it up. Yeah. So you never know what's around your house. So then come back into laying on your back and just notice how your spine is, how your breathing is. And then the hands can either come down next to your hips or interlock the fingers under your head. And you can inhale, extend through the heels, exhale, bend the knees, soften the feet on the floor. Make sure that the breath keeps moving here. Perhaps you can feel how much power there is in your legs when you press them up. And that presses down into your lower back so that you're really integrating that whole abdominal region. And if you want to have the arms overhead, you can have the arms overhead. And then do 2 more. And then release the legs. And you can put the hands down. And if you need a little bit of release in the lower back, you can press through the heels, shake the hips out, and then come back down. And then just because we're lying here, let's take a few sort of bridge roll-ups to really stretch out the spine. So we're gonna, as you inhale the arms up and press the feet up, press into that connection with the heels to the sit bone, And then you slowly roll the spine down and down. We'll do a couple of these. Inhale, rolling the spine up, pressing through the heels, opening the front body. Exhale, slowly roll down. And inhale, coming up. And exhale, rolling down. On the next one, we'll hold it a couple of breaths. Inhale, rolling up, really pressing through those heels. Now you can really try to really press the hips up if you can. Couple of breaths. And slowly roll down. And then you can have your hands here or under your head. You're going to inhale the knees into the chest, and this time you're going to extend one heel low and one heel up. And then bend the knees together. If you need a modification, you can just go halfway with the legs so you can play with the space where your legs are. Want a little bit more, then you're going to press the foot up to 90 degrees and press the lower heel, just hovering it off the floor. Inhale the knees into the chest. Press the left heel up, right heel down, hovering. Inhale. Exhale. Kind of have a bolster there that I can press into. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more on each side. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And just bend the knees, feet on the floor, and you can just lift off a little bit to shake out pelvis. And this time when you roll, come up, just drop the knees to one side, and then just slowly roll the body so that you can press with the hand in front. And then slowly roll up the spine. And that's a nice, easeful way to come up when you're laying down on the floor. And then come onto your mat. And really press into the tops of the feet and the shins. And then we're going to, before we do cat and dog, we're going to just go side to side. So you're going to bring the hips out, you're going to turn the head. So it's like you're wagging the tail and you're wagging the head just to get a little side to side motion in your spine. Loosens up the hips a little bit. And then come back to neutral. And then you can round the spine and the cat tilt. Inhale and dog. Round into cat tilt. Inhale, dog. Round, cat, tilt. Inhale, dog. Round into cat. And then just walk the hands forward. And you can bring the head down into, oh, I guess it's got a few names. Heart to mat pose or puppy pose. Then inhale, slowly come up to all fours. Now we're going to just tuck the toes under, come into downward facing dog, opening up the backs of the legs. And bending the knees, coming into big toes together, knees wide. Inhale, coming up, tucking the toes, another downward facing dog. Bringing the knees down to big toes together. Wide. And then come up to all fours again. And you can bring your fingertips up and swing the right leg between your hands. So we're going to build some standing poses from the floor. So you're going to bring the hands up on that thigh and lean a little bit forward. And then you're going to tuck the toes under and come into lunge warrior, warrior one pose. And you can stay here if this feels right, or if you want to lift the arms up, you can. And then bring the hands down to the thigh. Tuck the back knee down. Bring the fingertips down and swing that leg behind. So you're not trying to muscle it, but you can also, use your hand under your thigh if it helps to swing that leg through. And this is when it's nice to have two blocks under your hands as well. So I can demonstrate one of those if you had blocks under your hand. I'll demonstrate the second side with blocks under the hand in case you have blocks. And then you can swing the left leg there. And again, bring the hands up, one hand on top of the other. Going into a bit of a lunge. Then tuck the back foot under and really press into the back heel to get that strength and length in the leg. Then you can either stay here or lift the arms up into warrior one, lunge warrior. And bring the hands down to the thigh. Drop the back leg. I shouldn't say drop, I should say bend the back leg. And then if you had the blocks, the hand could come here. The nice thing about that is then, you could really sort of deepen the lunge as you come out of the pose and swing that leg back. So I'll show it both ways, without the blocks and with the blocks. So you could bring that fingers up to the fingertips without the blocks and swing that leg through. So it's like you use a little bit of momentum. And then you bring bring the hands up onto that thigh. You can have a little bit of a lunge here. And then see if you can tuck the toes under, but then you're going to pivot the heel. So you're really stabilizing in the lower body and then floating the arms up into Warrior Two pose, Virabhadrasana 2. And then you bring the hands back around to the thigh and drop that knee back. And then fingertips down and swing that leg back. And you're in all fours. And then swing the left leg between the hands. If you happen to need something under your knee, you can always put something soft. Put a roll blanket under your knee if you've got bony knees. I never want people to suffer in yoga class. I want you to make this something you can manage. So from here, again, lifting the hands up, going into that lunge, and taking the back foot, pivoting the heel down, really stabilizing the lower body, and then floating the arms up. Look over that top hand, that front hand. Then pivot the hands back around to the thigh. Drop the knee down. Hands down, and then you can still lunge a little bit with the fingertips here, getting a little more stretch in the front thigh. Swing that leg down, and then if you'd like, you can do a couple more cat rounding the spine, or you can also go into big toes together, knees wide. It's nice to do a little bit of cat and dog tilt here, if you like that. And then bring the spine back to neutral. Fingertips up or the two blocks next to you. And then you can swing that right leg in. Bring the arms up onto the thigh. Again, tuck the toes under, pivot that heel down. Then you can come into Parsvakonasana. So you can stay here, top arm can come up, or it can come up and over. And if you had the blocks there, you can always take the arm down to the block. So that's where having two blocks close by can come in handy. And then bring the hands back on that thigh. Drop the back knee or bend the back knee. And then you have a little bit of a lunge forward, and then you can bring that knee back and then swing the opposite left leg forward. Bring the hands up as you come into that lunge. Tuck the toes under, pivot the heel down, bring the forearm on the thigh. Top arm is straight up or up and over. And then you pivot the hands back around, bring the back knee down, hands on your blocks or on fingertips next to you. And then swing that leg back. And either big toes together, knees wide, or you can do a little bit of rounding the spine, cat dog tilt. And bring the body back into neutral. Come up onto the fingertips or the two blocks. Swing the right leg here. Put the hands on the thigh. And then extend that back foot. As you pivot the heel down, you're going to totally slowly straighten the front leg. And since you're here, you can slowly unfurl like a fern into Utthita Trikonasana pose, extended triangle. And then when you come out of it, you just start to bend that front leg, hands on the thigh, slowly putting the back foot down. You can do a little bit of lunging with fingertips here. And bring that leg back. And inhale, put the left leg between the hands. Coming into that lunge. Tucking the right foot under, placing the heel on the floor. Slowly straighten the front leg. And then pivoting around, unfurling like a fern. Utthita Trikonasana, extended triangle pose. And then to come out of it, you start to bend the knee, bring the hands around, slowly drop. See, I don't know if drop's the right word. Slowly bring that leg back. You can do a little bit of a lunge with the fingers. Bring that leg back, swing that leg back. And either big toes together, knees wide, or a couple of cat dogs. Come to lying on your belly for some of the baby back bends. Normally I encourage people, if they might have neck issues, to make a pillow with their hands to put their forehead here. But if you're okay in the neck, you can always come into this resting pose with the ear on the floor, just as long as you alternate. And we're all going to have one side that's better than the other. So whichever resting pose you choose, you come into that first. And then we're going to slowly come into Sphinx pose. So you want to place the forearms, the elbows underneath the shoulders, forearms long, hands down. You're like pulling the mat towards you, but now you've really got to connect into those legs. So the heels into the sit bone, so that it's like you're pulling yourself through like a sphinx. And that you're not going into your lower spine, because you're using your abdominal support and your legs to support you here. A couple of breaths here. And then slowly you can release, soften the legs, and whichever pose, for the resting pose. And in these poses, you can feel notice the heart rate elevates, and then when we do the little rest, it comes down a little bit lower. It won't be in your resting rate, so it's a little bit like interval training. And then for the second pose, we'll do a variation of cobra. So you're going to interlock your fingers behind. Now be careful not to pinch your shoulder blades together. You want to have the shoulders there, but just pressing the shoulder blades down the spine, and then slowly lift the hands up, and that's going to lift your chest up. Again, the legs are working, so you have the lower body support. And then if you've got a little bit of power, you can release the arm, and then you can slowly come down. Felt kind of good. Maybe that was hard for you, but we have to practice different things to waken up different parts of the body, and we have to challenge ourselves with new input, because we need novelty. So we need some things the same, but we also need novelty. So now we're going to go into a variation of Salambhasana. So bring the hands underneath you if you can. If you can't do that, this is a great massage for the arms and the wrists. You can always have them next to you if it's too difficult to roll them underneath you. And then you got the chin forward, and you're going to slowly lift the right leg up and exhale down. Lift the left leg up, exhale down. Lift the right leg up, exhale down. Lift the left leg up, exhale down. And then on the next lift, see if you can put the right leg under the left thigh, or the left foot under the right thigh, keeping the hips facing down. And then release that side. And then lift the left leg up. Right foot supports it. You can have it down on the calf muscle if you need to. And then release that side. And then roll the arms out. And you've had a nice little arm massage. And then a couple of breaths here. Slow down the heart rate. And then we'll go into full Salambhasana or locust pose. So take the forehead on the floor. Bring the hands next to you. And so you have to really work the legs. Slowly lift the feet off the head, the chest, and the arms like a rocket ship. Take a little breath, and then if you can lift just a little higher, and then slowly come down. Take a few breaths to rest. So when you breathe in the resting pose, because your front body's on the floor, you can really feel how the back body moves when you breathe. And then we'll just do a little bit of a frog variation where you have the left forearm in front and you hold the right foot with the right hand. Now, the starting place in this pose is you're really pressing the heel towards the floor. It's a good stretch for the shoulder. There's something about pivoting the hand, God, I haven't done this in a long time, around the foot, which is hard to kind of show people, or it's hard to explain it. But you can also just keep the hand on the foot and just press that. Stretching the front thigh. And then release that leg. Place the right forearm in front. Take the left hand to the left foot. So you're trying to bring that foot towards the floor. And the hand pivot is just pivoting it around so the fingers go forward. But you can also just keep the hand here. And then release that. And then just roll over onto your back again. Just do a little happy baby pose. You can do a little rolling side to side or a little forward and back if you need that. This is a nice pose to do with support under your hips and your head because that really helps give you that rounded spine. And then slowly release that, and you can go into whatever pose you want for Shavasana. Feet up the wall, feet on the chair, just plain old Shavasana, something under your knees if you need that. So whatever suits you today. So let yourself settle into the ground, into your support, into your mat, into feet up the wall if that's where you are. And see if you can become aware of your spinal column. All those vertebrae. And notice if you can feel the breath moving in the back body, particularly perhaps like widening and spreading. And then see if you can focus on softening all 10 toes on both feet, the tops of the feet, the insteps, the heels, the ankles, lower legs, shins, calf muscles, front of the knee, sides of the knee, back of the knee. Upper thigh, hamstrings, quadriceps, and then the thigh socket. So your legs from your toes all the way through your ankles, lower legs, knees, thighs are nice and relaxed. And see if you can feel into all 10 fingers, 5 on each hand, softening into your palms and the back of your hands and your wrists, forearms, elbows, upper arm, into your shoulder girdle, so your whole hands, through your wrists, through your lower arms, elbows, upper arms are nice and relaxed. And then see if you can notice your shoulder girdle. So you've got the collarbones, the upper chest, shoulder blades, the rib cage, pelvic girdle. See if you can feel from your shoulder girdle through your rib cage to your pelvic girdle is relaxed. Your throat softens, back of the neck lengthens and softens, base of the head is softening, your scalp softens, your forehead widens and softens. Temples are softening. Space between the eyebrows widens and softens. Your eyeballs rest into the eye socket. Your cheeks are softening. Your jaw softens. Your lips, teeth, and tongue are soft, and your chin is softened. So your whole throat, neck, head, and face is relaxed. And then slowly begin to reawaken your body. deepening your breath, wiggling your fingers and toes, maybe a big stretch through the body. If you roll to one side, roll very gently. You can slowly roll up to sitting, bringing the head up last. I heard a great little thing about breath today. Breathe in good shit and you exhale bullshit. Namaste. Thank you for coming.